But until the silence is broken, the digital clues will continue to speak. And fans will continue to ask, did Taehyung really unfollow Jungkook? Or did something much deeper just get exposed to the world? Shocking. Emotional. Unresolved. The world watches and waits. But what if the silence isn't just circumstantial? What if it's intentional? A decision born out of disappointment? The kind that builds up slowly over years of unspoken tension and misunderstood gestures? Fans, especially those who have followed BTS since their humble beginnings, remember the early days. Taehyung and Jungkook were inseparable. They called each other soulmates in passing, playfully bickering like brothers one moment and leaning on each other the next. That bond was the lifeline many fans held on to during the darker times of BTS's career. And now, with a single digital shift, that bond appears to be unraveling. Could it be true that even the deepest connections within BTS are vulnerable to time, fame, and emotional distance? A fan account with over 300,000 followers posted a detailed breakdown of Taehyung's following list, noting the exact day and hour the number changed. Within minutes, the hashtag Taehyung unfollows Jungkook began trending across multiple platforms. Fans flooded Twitter and TikTok with reactions. Some panicked, others in denial. One viral post read, "If Taehyung really unfollowed Jungkook, then what's left of the BTS we knew?" The question was not rhetorical. It was the cry of a fandom trying to grasp something slipping through their fingers. The speculations intensified when Taehyung was seen dining with non-BTS friends the same evening the unfollow was noticed. In an era where idols are scrutinized for every move, some fans interpreted the moment as Taehyung distancing himself not just from Jungkook, but perhaps from the group itself. Meanwhile, Jungkook's next live stream was unusually short. He seemed distracted, his words measured. When a fan asked about Taehyung, Jungkook smiled faintly and responded with, "We're all busy these days. Everyone's doing their own thing." Was that a generic answer? Or a deflection? Then came the quote that stunned everyone. In an archived video from last year, during a solo interview, Jungkook was asked about what hurts him the most in friendships. He replied, "When someone I love disappears without telling me why." At the time, no one linked it to Taehyung. Now, it's resurfaced with a new layer of meaning. Was that statement a silent confession? And Taehyung, too, has left breadcrumbs of emotional unrest. In a Q&A session last year, he was asked if friendships within BTS had changed over time. His answer was painfully honest. Everything changes. What matters is who chooses to stay even when it's uncomfortable. That response barely made headlines then. But now, it feels almost like a prelude, an echo of something breaking beneath the surface. Perhaps the most revealing moment came not from either of them directly, but from an industry insider who posted anonymously on a popular K-entertainment forum. The user claimed to have worked on a recent photo shoot involving members of BTS, noting visible tension between Jungkook and Taehyung. They barely acknowledged each other. Jungkook was quieter than usual. Taehyung seemed emotionally distant. The staff could feel the chill. While the post is unverifiable, it added gasoline to an already blazing fire. Could the separation be more than emotional, possibly even professional? This tension could have enormous implications, especially with BTS's much-anticipated full group reunion in 2026 drawing closer. The group's comeback is meant to be more than just a musical event. It's a symbol of endurance, brotherhood, and growth. But what happens if the internal relationships that fans believed were unbreakable are already fractured? Can the world's biggest group truly reunite when its core is split? One can't help but wonder, was this crack always there? Hidden behind the perfect performances, masked by rehearsed interviews and carefully curated content? The entertainment industry is notorious for its ability to conceal internal issues behind polished smiles. Perhaps the unfollow wasn't the first sign of conflict, but the first one the public couldn't ignore. And then came Taehyung's latest story, a black screen with a single line in Hangul, "어떤 거리도 감정을 막을 수 없어." Translation? No distance can block emotions. The quote sent shockwaves through the fandom. Was it a message of hurt? A plea for reconciliation? Or was it something else entirely, perhaps a farewell? It's not the first time BTS members have shared emotionally cryptic messages. But in the context of everything happening, silences, missing interactions, and the ominous unfollow, it felt targeted, painful, real. Emotions are running high, not just among fans, but within Korean entertainment circles. K-media analysts have begun dissecting the situation, and even national broadcasters have subtly referenced the shift in Taehyung and Jungkook's dynamic. A segment on a major music program included a question about whether idols should publicly address personal group conflicts, and while no names were mentioned, everyone knew what was being referenced. Yet amidst the whirlwind of doubt and heartbreak, some fans hold on tightly to hope. They believe this is a phase, a rough patch between two people who have shared so much, endured so much. They'll come back together stronger. One fan wrote on a trending post, "Real friendship doesn't dissolve like this. Maybe they just need time." But others aren't so sure. They fear that the industry's pressure, individual ambitions, and personal heartbreaks have finally driven a wedge between two of BTS's most beloved hearts. And if that's true, the damage may already be done. The next BTS group activity, or lack thereof, may provide further clues. Will Taehyung and Jungkook appear together in any public setting? Will they interact even subtly? Will any member acknowledge the storm swirling online? Or will they continue the silence, letting the unfollow speak for itself? In the end, only one question remains, haunting every fan's mind like an unresolved lyric. Did Taehyung unfollow Jungkook? Or did their hearts simply stop following each other long ago? And as the fandom holds its breath, waiting for clarity, all they can do is scroll through old videos, rewatch happier times, and hope, desperately, that this is not the end of a bond that once felt unbreakable. Is this the moment BTS fans feared the most? Has something irreversible happened between two of the most beloved members of the world's biggest boy band? What really lies beneath the surface of a subtle digital move that shook the ARMY to its core? When Kim Taehyung, famously known as V, made an unassuming change in his online presence, the world noticed. But what seemed like a minor shift, perhaps even accidental, has now spiraled into a storm of questions. Did Taehyung unfollow Jungkook on social media? And if so, why? Could this be a silent confirmation of tension, betrayal, or something much deeper? In a fandom where every interaction is magnified, every click, like, and follow tells a story. And this story is unfolding with a ferocity that no one was prepared for. Taehyung, the soulful baritone known for his warmth and sensitivity, has always shared a unique bond with Jungkook, the golden maknae, the youngest, yet often the emotional pillar of the group. Their dynamic has been celebrated in countless moments captured on and off stage, in vlogs, interviews, and fan edits that narrate a friendship many consider unbreakable. So what could have possibly caused this? Speculations erupted like wildfire when fans noticed that Taehyung's following list on his personal social media account had mysteriously shrunk, and among the missing names was none other than Jungkook. For a fandom as vigilant as ARMY, it didn't take long for screenshots to surface, timelines to be tracked, and theories to emerge. Did Taehyung really unfollow Jungkook? Or was this an algorithmic glitch? Was it an intentional message cloaked in silence? Or just a mistake in the middle of a social media cleanup? Yet, the digital clues don't end there. Shortly after the discovery, Taehyung posted a cryptic story, an abstract black and white photo with no caption. Moments later, fans uncovered that Jungkook had removed a video from his page that once featured a deeply emotional moment with Taehyung during their tour in London. A coincidence? Or calculated withdrawal? Let's not forget the timing. All this unfolds just weeks after Taehyung's return from military service, a time when fans expected heartwarming reunions, Instagram lives full of laughter and messages of solidarity. But instead, a strange silence looms between the two. No public comments. No visible celebrations. No welcome back messages. Nothing. The absence speaks louder than any post ever could. Why would Jungkook stay silent when the rest of the members showed some gesture of welcome? And why has Taehyung remained emotionally distant, barely acknowledging his closest bandmate online. Observers point to moments that now, in retrospect, feel loaded with meaning. During a variety show appearance from early 2023, Taehyung appeared unusually reserved when asked about Jungkook. He deflected, smiled, but avoided depth. At the time, it was dismissed as a mood, an off day. But now, fans are combing through old footage, dissecting every glance, every breath, every shared laugh to find the moment where things may have cracked. Digital behavior, after all, is never as innocent as it seems, especially in the world of global superstars. Every action or lack thereof becomes part of a narrative. And when that narrative involves BTS, it becomes magnified 1,000-fold. So, what are the clues? Is it just about an unfollow button, or something darker? Some fans argue that the unfollow might be a private message made public, a subtle way for Taehyung to express hurt or betrayal without the need for words. Others believe it might be Jungkook who has pulled back, withdrawing emotionally after a disagreement no one saw coming. Is this a brotherly rift, temporary and fixable, or is it the sign of a deeper divide that fans haven't been allowed to see? Then there's the theory that everything is part of a bigger scheme, a marketing tactic, a stunt. But those who followed BTS for years know the difference. The pain in Taehyung's expressions lately doesn't look scripted. The slight hesitation in Jungkook's voice during his last live stream when asked about Taehyung? Too real to ignore. He paused, looked away, changed the subject, and an emotional storm where nothing is confirmed but everything is felt. Fans have started creating timelines, digging through interactions, matching Taehyung's public schedule with Jungkook's to find overlap or the lack of it. How can two people who once sang in harmony now exist in digital silence? Theories spiral further. Did something happen during Taehyung's military service that created distance? Was there an expectation of support that never came? Was there a personal disagreement, creative differences, or even a broken promise? The group has always advocated for openness, but they've also guarded their privacy with military precision. So if there was a fallout, would we ever be told? Fans recall the 2021 Festa dinner, a moment that now feels eerily prescient. Taehyung jokingly remarked about Jungkook ghosting him sometimes, only for Jungkook to nervously laugh it off. It was played for humor, but many now believe it was a hint, one that flew under the radar until now. Were the signs always there? The most emotionally charged reaction has come from international fans who feel betrayed, not by either member, but by the silence. If something is wrong, they want honesty. If everything is fine, they want reassurance. But right now, all they're left with is confusion and heartbreak. How does a bond that inspired millions fall into question with just a few taps on a screen? In one of his older interviews, Taehyung once said, "When I love someone, I love deeply. But when I feel distance, I fall silent." That silence has now become deafening. And it's being echoed by Jungkook, who recently canceled a scheduled live appearance without explanation, further fueling concern. Taehyung, this may seem exaggerated, a fandom reading too much into pixels and patterns. But for ARMY, these aren't just celebrities. They are symbols of connection, resilience, and chosen family. A potential fracture between Taehyung and Jungkook feels personal. It feels like watching your favorite stars in the night sky suddenly drift apart. And what about the other members? Namjoon, Yoongi, Jimin, Jin, and Hobi have remained diplomatically quiet.
No mentions.
No joint content. No public pushback to the theories. Is this out of respect or confirmation? Are they trying to protect the group's unity? Or is the silence a strategic pause to let emotions settle? For a group preparing for a monumental reunion in 2026, this kind of internal rift could be devastating. Fans have waited patiently through military enlistments, solo projects, and hiatuses, all for the promise of a stronger BTS comeback. But what if the comeback is now at risk because two of its pillars can no longer stand on the same ground? The emotional weight of this moment is undeniable. Even if it's temporary, even if things heal in private, even if next week brings a photo of the two smiling together again, the scars of today's silence will remain. Because trust, once cracked in the public eye, is hard to restore, and yet, hope persists. Because this is BTS. They've overcome burnout, injuries, heartbreak, and even the threat of disbandment. Perhaps this too is just a storm before the calm. Perhaps Taehyung and Jungkook are navigating something deeply personal that requires space and time.